Hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Titletown.
What up?
We're very excited to be back with you, and we have some great Boston sports takes to share with y'all. We're going to spend a lot of time talking about the Celtics.
Yeah, we're all fired up.
Sort of their mediocre beginning to the season.
Yeah.
We're going to talk a little bit about the Patriots because they're obviously the hot team in town.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll touch on a couple of
Yeah,
things.
we'll touch on some other stuff. I'm all fucking spicy with the Celtics, though.
I can't wait to hear all
So
about
if
it.
you're a big basketball fan, and you for some reason listen to this podcast, you're in for a real treat.
Just stop now because you
Buckle
won't
up.
like anything we have to say.
Buckle up.
Cool. Well, you can interact with us on all social media at Titletown Pod, and you can also call and leave us a voicemail at 904-87-TT-POD.
Yeah, and if you're a big, huge freaking fan, you can leave us a review or rating on iTunes. That matters.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. So we'll see you on the internet.
Enjoy the show. Hi, Craig. How are you?
Hey, Melissa, I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful.
Long time no talk.
I was going to say, it's been a while.
Yeah.
We took a bye week. Patriots took a bye week.
And then we took another bye week. It's fine.
It happened. No, it's only been two.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We took a bye, and then we took another bye. Double bye.
Oh, yeah. Well, we took the bye with the Patriots bye, of course.
Yeah, and then an extra bye.
Yeah. Well, we had extra rest to do.
Yeah, that's true.
We're not as well conditioned as them.
No, that's absolutely accurate. Good Thanksgiving there, Bernsey.
Yeah, wonderful. Nice and quiet. Got ready for the Black Friday madness the day after.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
I was able
Boston
to
accent right now.
successfully avoid the Black Friday madness. So that was cool. Thanksgiving was good.
Nice.
Did a little bit of traveling, but didn't get too screwed. So that's cool.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah, it was
Traveled
great.
at some off hours, did you?
Sure did. Sure did. But anyways, welcome to the Titletown Sports Podcast,
Yes.
everybody. Episode 57.
Interesting.
Yeah. I ain't got no take on that, but I just wanted to throw that in there.
Just for everyone keeping track at home.
Let's get a little caught up on what's been going on. You want to fucking kick us off there?
Sure, I'll start. The Patriots came off their holiday bye week, as we just talked about. They had a win against the Jets on Sunday on the road down in New Jersey. The Patriots now improved to 8-3 on the season, 3-3 on the road.
Not great.
No. And they were able to bounce back after their brutal loss to Tennessee 2 weeks ago. Tom Brady broke yet another NFL record, as he's now the all-time passing yards leader for both NFL regular season and playoff combined. There's a stat you don't hear every day. This Sunday, they're going to go take on Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings at Gillette. Should be a pretty good game.
Yeah, it should be.
One of the last real competitive games on their schedule for the season.
This and the Steelers game is basically that. And then
Yeah.
you're just like sloshing through the AFC East swag.
It was funny. We talked the last time we recorded about what game do we think they might
Yeah.
lose? Well, turns out it was
Turns out Tennessee, which we
Tennessee.
did talk about a little bit. We
Yeah.
gave them a sniff, but
right. A little trap game there.
I still think that they could win out from here, but we'll see.
Yeah, they could. We'll see. Having Gronk back was nice
That
this
was
week.
good.
That
That
certainly
was
helps getting him involved.
And we are in this territory where Tom Brady breaks some obscure statistic
Yeah,
every time he
every-
fucking sneezes.
Right. Something weird will happen now. He'll have used the most towels in the NFL
Yeah,
ever.
something like that. Most amount of jersey designs worn. Anyways, Bruins are playing as well. They've had a little bit of a tough go of it over the last couple of weeks. Let's just real quick. This was a weird story that we missed on our double bye. Going all the way back to November 8th, the Bruins got smoked by the Vancouver Canucks on the road, and they
Yeah.
lost that game 8-5.
That's why we had to take the week off. I was in mourning.
8-5. They lost that game. Actually, I put a pin in that for 1 second.
Okay.
So I have a thought on that. Got blown up by the Canucks 8-5. After this game, the Bruins starting goalie, Tuukka Rask, you may know him, went on a personal leave of absence and was away from the team for 5 days. No explanation. Personal leave of absence. Bruins are 3-2 since his return. I think that was on like the 14th or something like that. And his play personally has improved drastically, but it's still not clear what the nature of his absence was. But he's been doing okay. The Bruins have been doing fine. He's been doing better, certainly better than he was before.
Yeah.
Here's some other Bruins news. In that same time frame, from the 8th to now, the Bruins have lost Zdeno Chara, Patrice Bergeron, Brandon Carlo, and most recently, today, Kevin Miller to injury. And they've been, of course, without Charlie McAvoy since the middle of October. And for those keeping track, that's 4 of their starting 6 defensemen and their best defensive forward. My advice to Bruins fans, buckle up and bet the over. It's going to be a little fucking rough.
Yeah.
Especially on defense. Thank God that Tuukka Rask dealt with whatever the fuck he had to deal with, apparently.
Yeah, very bizarre. What did you want to put a pin in?
Oh, I just want it. Ever since we stopped, we took a double bye, and as soon as we stopped putting out episodes, Boston sports just went to shit.
I know.
Pats lost to the Titans. Celtics can't get their heads out of their asses. Everybody gets hurt on the Bruins.
Apparently, we're keeping the city together.
Like it just went right to hell.
Well, you're welcome, people. This is a real public service here. We're glad to be back. We'll see how things turn around
You're
now.
welcome.
Speaking of the Celtics not being able to get their head out of their ass, they are a game above 500.
Way to go, boys.
Yeah, the quarter part of the season. The preseason darlings of the Eastern Conference are now 11-10. It feels like they played so many more games than that. And are in 6th place in the East. Not ideal. The early season frustration has lingered longer than anyone thought. And after some devastating home losses to the likes of the Knicks and the
Brutal.
Jazz.
Wicked brutal.
Yeah. All the Green Team Nation is hoping is that Monday's road win versus the Pelicans was a turning point. In that game, Kyrie, Jason Tatum, and Al Horford all had 20-plus points, which is nice. And Marcus Morris and Terry Rozier both scored in the high teens. Their offense seemed to have a pulse finally, which is good to see. This week, they're going to take on the Cavs, who are terrible, Timberwolves, the Knicks again, and the Bulls. And hopefully they will clean up on some of their crap bag teams.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the one silver lining for them coming up in like the immediate future is like, yeah, they do play a lot of crap opponents.
Yeah.
But they've played a bunch of crap opponents so
Right,
far.
and they've lost
hasn't
to them.
done
They've lost
done them any good.
You keep
so.
seeing them win, and it feels like, oh, they're going to turn it
Now
around.
they got it. Yeah, I thought the same thing after that. They beat Toronto in that OT game at home, and I was like, okay,
there it is.
There we go. And then I think the next night was that Utah night again at home, and that was an embarrassment.
Oh, God. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll get to them in a minute.
Yeah.
And then finally, just rounding off our teams around town, Red Sox, not a whole lot happening in Red Sox Nation this week, as you might imagine. But since our last recording, the Sox did sign first baseman and reigning World Series MVP Steve Pearce, Piss Missile Pierce,
Terrible signing.
to a 1-year, $6 million deal. Why is that a terrible sign?
It's a fucking waste
It's
of
$6 million.
$6
That's chump change.
It's a waste. You could have thrown it at a starting pitcher.
You know what's funny is just like the difference between like salaries in some of the sports. Like Tuukka Rask gets paid $7 million a year, and he's like one of the top 5 highest paid goalies in the NHL.
Right.
Like
Yeah, and
Steve Pearce hits a fucking couple dingers in the postseason, and he gets $6 million for 1 year.
Yeah.
And that's not a big contract. Like that's not an
No.
overpayment really. Like that's just like,
It's pocket change in the MLB.
Yeah, that's
It's
like-
weird.
which is also weird because like, does anybody fucking watch baseball anymore? Like baseball generally, like where are they getting all this money?
I know. You hear about it being the dying sport, and like people aren't going to games, people aren't watching games, and yet they are just chucking cash at
Yeah,
people. And
seriously.
I'm like, what? I don't understand. I don't know where it comes from.
I don't know.
Merch?
Merch.
Concessions? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a
So you
fucking
gotta
hot
pay
dogs and bottled water.
$25 for a beer.
Yeah.
So Steve Pearce can get $6
So
million.
Steve Pearce can get that Tuukka Rask
He
money.
should buy me a hot dog when I'm there.
He should.
And a little more room in my seat.
A discussion for another day.
Oh, Jesus.
You may have also heard that Mookie Betts, our friend, won the AL MVP. No big surprise there.
Nope.
Also worth noting that Alex Cora did not win American League Manager of the Year. He lost to Bob Melvin, old Bobby Melvin of the Oakland Athletics.
I have a baseball question for you.
Yeah.
Do you know who the new Twins manager is?
I definitely don't know who the
No,
new
'cause I
Twins
Don't
manager
know why you
is.
would. It's old friend Rocco Baldelli.
Rocco Baldelli?
Yeah.
What's his story again? Is he a local guy?
Yeah.
I know he
Local guy,
played for
grew
the
up
Sox,
in Rhode
obviously.
Island, played in the Sox, ended up having some sort of like recurring illness that ended his career, essentially. He was with the
Oh.
Rays for a long time, and then he came to the
this is
Sox for a
ringing a
little
bell
bit.
for me.
Yeah, well, now he's the Twins manager.
Huh.
I was like, I like saw it on, I don't even know where I saw it, but I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
Probably one of the just many upper Midwestern baseball blogs you follow.
All my research. I
Yeah.
got to be prepared. That's all I do. It must have been like the Globe or something, to be honest.
Yeah, just a little footnote.
Yeah, like Boston.com.
Slow news day on that day, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably on Thanksgiving.
Here's a question for you, Melissa.
Yeah.
If you had to rank, like what do you think's like the top story in Boston sports right now? You got, obviously like dominant in terms of like headline grabbing, just overall. We're obviously in the middle of football season, Brady
Sure.
Belichick, yada,
But we're
yada,
in the middle
yada.
of it.
Whole bunch of stories about Josh McDaniels getting like coaching offers and stuff this
Yeah.
week, which is weird.
Bizarre.
Then you've got your Celtics, you got your Bruins.
Who do I think's taking the headlines?
Yeah, like, well, I guess not so much in the headlines, I suppose, but like, what's your number one story right now?
I think it's got to be the Celtics sucking.
Go on.
because the expectations were so high for them. And I think like the Patriots are always going to be important, right? But when you're at week 12 of the NFL season and you're leading the AFC East, I can spell, it's kind of like, all right, cool. We got to make it through the rest of the season. Like, not a lot is going to change. Maybe the playoff picture shifts a little, but like the intricacies week over week aren't necessarily as important.
Yeah.
The Celtics are just on such a like roller coaster of highs and lows, and they were supposed to be like high. Like people were talking about them
lows
winning.
and relative highs. Yes.
Well, before the season started, people were talking about them winning 60, 65 games.
Yeah.
Like that's not going to happen.
No.
The way they're currently playing.
And like you forget, like you said, what'd you say? You can't believe they played so few games or so many games?
So few.
Oh, see, I was thinking the opposite. Maybe it's just because they've been bad and like the narrative is just sort of drawn out from the first like 5 games of the series that like they're like struggling early. Like it's quarter way through the season. Like
right. But to me, I feel like all I've been hearing about is them losing.
I know.
And so for them to have only lost 10 games, I'm like, well, that doesn't seem that bad.
Yeah, but I mean, being just above 500
That's
is
not
not
ideal.
great. I mean, you look at the other teams around that same point in the at least in the East, it's really not pretty.
Yeah. Yeah,
Who do you think's to blame?
Oh.
See, I don't know if that's necessarily clear yet. You know what's fascinating is I legitimately don't think the Celtics know why they're sucking.
Yeah.
They don't know.
I think that's the worst part, because how do you fix it if you can't figure it out?
They don't know.
I think
they legitimately don't know what's wrong.
I think as fans, we were all stupid to think that the magic they got out of those bench players last year could be replicated when Kyrie and Gordon Hayward were back on the court. And second to that, I think we all expected Gordon Hayward to just come back and be Gordon Hayward again. And he's not. Yeah. And like, even when we just talked about that game they just won, his stat line isn't in here.
No, yeah, he scored 5 points.
Yeah, exactly. We're not talking about him because he's not contributing it the way we would expect Gordon Hayward to contribute. And I don't think they've done enough to make adjustments for that.
Are we stupid to expect that they would be that much better, though? Like, if you look at the team last year, it's like,
we're not.
Good team, good coach.
Yeah.
Good young players, good bench players. Terry Rozier looked great coming off all this stuff. And then you add 2 superstars, or like 1 superstar and 1 slightly underneath lower tier superstar in Hayward.
B+.
Like, why? I feel like that's a reasonable expectation. Like, you should get better, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's as simple as, and I think that's where we were like tricked, is that we thought that. Like, it's just as simple as, oh, well, you put 2 better players, they're all going to be better. But that's not how it works. It's
Apparently not.
It's not linear math. Because you're adding these 2 players and it's changing the way the team plays. I think it's even changing the kind of basketball that they play. Like, it was way more balanced and like team focused when it was all those like rookies and bench guys last year. And now it's Kyrie, Gordon, Al Horford. You have a big 3, so you have to cater to your big 3.
Like 6.
Yeah.
It feels
but
like
you didn't last year when you signed them because you didn't know.
And that was something that actually you and I had talked about that, like, or like I guess before the season started, I can like picture us doing it, but I don't actually remember when in time it was. I could just like picture us having
Episode
the conversation.
42. Yeah.
So and it's like, yeah, there's like the one concern that I had anyways going into the season was like, there's a lot of mouths to feed on this team, like between Kyrie, Hayward, Horford, Rozier, Tatum, and Brown. Like, that's a lot of dudes who all want, maybe not Horford, but like that's a lot of dudes who like want the ball and want to take shots and want to score points.
Right. And have now had success in the NBA.
Right. And we all thought last year that the silver lining of the no Hayward and eventually no Kyrie was that Tatum and Brown got to see the floor a lot more than they otherwise would have, and therefore got really good. That is turning out to be, I think, probably in the long term, like it will be looked at as a silver lining, but like it immediately, like right now, like just, today, 21 games in, it seems like it's having the opposite effect because they think seem to think they're on the same level as Kyrie and Gordon Hayward in terms of their sort of importance on the team.
Right. They don't want to go out there and be ball feeders and like mop up. They're
Jaylen
out there
Brown
like
doesn't want to come off the bench.
Right. But they're out there like taking a shot where you're like, pass it to Kyrie, like you're killing me.
Yeah, like run the offense.
Right.
Like just do, I don't know. Like I don't know enough about X's and O's basketball to know what you X and O basketball to know what you should do. But like if you just like walk the ball up the floor and like try to just go one-on-one with someone and like ISO, like you're fucking Allen Iverson, like every single trip up the floor. Like that's just not how good basketball teams win games.
And it's not how they played last year.
Sure isn't. So I got a hot take on the coach.
I was gonna say, who are you blaming?
So I think if you look at So you're gonna put down my rosé flavored seltzer.
Oh boy, getting serious now.
I think if you
Rosé.
look at, forget about the Celtics for a second, forget about even the NBA. Just look at like sports in general, right? Talented team, underperforming.
Yes,
Who do you blame?
coach
Pretty much always you blame the coach, right?
or the quarterback.
John Farrell with the Red Sox.
Oh yeah,
Right?
Got fired.
Talented team, highest payroll in baseball, can't get out of the first round of the playoffs, right? See you later, pal. You're
Yeah.
out of here. Like, there's the history is just littered with coaches with lots of
Coaches'
talent on their
carcasses.
roster
Yeah.
that can't get their teams to perform. Claude
Yeah.
Julien with the Bruins is another recent
yeah,
example
yeah,
of
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's basically the same team that went to the Cup in 11 and 13. You missed the playoffs in 14 and 15. And midway through the season in 16, you get fired. And then Cassidy comes in and then you look really good. So, like, that's just kind of what happens. Now, I'm not advocating they're firing Brad Stevens. Far from it. But I looked at it today
Oh,
because it's like, I feel
we
like
got facts and figures coming.
I feel like Brad Stevens is still like the new coach, but like
Yeah.
you think about it, he's been here since 13, right?
right.
And so I was just going through the teams, right? I was like reliving some Celtics history, right? And this is going to be a build up to my actual point. So just bear with me here for a second. So Stevens comes to the team in 13. That was after like basically the Tankapalooza season, the Doc Rivers' last season, Pierce's last season. They like dump everybody and move on. Brad's first season, they win 25 games. They suck, right? Nothing to see there. No big deal. Whatever. 14 rolls around. They basically finish 500. At that point, they've got Isaiah Thomas. They don't yet have Al Horford, but like the Rondo's still on the team. Fucking Jared Sullinger and freaking Jeff Green. Like whatever. They're fine. 500 team. Nothing to see there either. 15, that's when they got Horford, I think. Yeah. So now we're in 15, 16, and you've got Isaiah Thomas. That year, they win 48 games. Okay, sure, not bad. What'd they do then? Oh, that was when they lost to the Hawks in the playoffs. All right. So now we're getting into like modern era.
Yeah.
So 16, 17, they win 53 games. They finish first in the Eastern Conference, and they fucking lose to the Cavs in the Eastern Conference Finals. They won one game. That was like the Isaiah Thomas year. Okay, cool. You've got Al Horford on the team. You've got IT, who was at the time playing like a superstar. He wasn't actually a superstar, but like that was your team basically, right?
Sure.
And then, of course, we all know the story last year. You've got Kyrie. You've got Gordon Hayward, who horrifically gets injured in the first 2 minutes of the first game of the season. The team sort of galvanizes. You've got one rookie and one almost rookie in Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, who end up having great seasons. By the time the postseason rolls around, you don't have Kyrie, and then you lose to LeBron again in the Eastern Conference Finals. So, like, all that being said, the point is that Brad's been here for 5 years.
Yeah.
3 of those 5 years, the teams were like legit NBA teams, but not championship contending teams, right?
Right.
And so, like, what we
to no fault of his.
Oh no, definitely not. No way. And what do we know about Brad Stevens? One thing that we know is that he's like a really good X's and O's tactician type coach, right? He can draw up a play on the fucking whiteboard and like get an open look with a couple seconds left in the game, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Way to go, Brad. You need that sometimes in the NBA. Last year's a little bit of a special case, I think. Like, I honestly think that like the trauma of Hayward
Oh God, it stuck with all of us.
not just the graphic nature of it, but just the fact that it was like this whole new team. And think about the hype from this year. And, you know, it was like 10 times as much last year
Yeah.
because nobody had ever seen them play together. You have all this hype, all these expectations, and then right off the fucking back, something legitimately awful happens.
right. That you never could have predicted.
And not just for like a basketball team, but like awful for that to happen to a person. Like there's a
Right.
horrible,
Yeah.
gruesome injury
Yeah.
like on day one. You know
Right.
what I mean? So like that's fucked up. And I think that galvanized the team a bit and brought them together. And then by the end of it, in the playoffs, you've got a 21-year-old in Jaylen Brown, a 19-year-old in Jason Tatum, flying around out there and just trying to compete. They go 7 games with the Bucks, 5 games with the Sixers, and they lose to LeBron. And it's like, here we are, current day. And this is basically, long story short, this is the first like legit NBA superstar championship caliber roster that Brad
Yeah.
Stevens has ever dealt with
You know-
outside of the first 2 minutes in
Yeah,
the preseason
sure.
of last year.
Right.
This is the first test, I think, of Stevens' ability to do the Doc Rivers thing, which is maybe he's not the best X's and O's greaseboard tactician, but he can manage the egos. He can manage the personalities. He's the leader in more of like a,
Put you in the right place to win.
yeah, he's kind of
Yeah.
more like, I don't know, like he's like a figurehead, you know? And 20 games into the season so this is like the test so far for Brad Stevens. Like, okay, we got it. You're like a nerd who can draw up a good play, but can you actually coach in the NBA? This is the biggest difference between NBA coaches and college coaches.
Right.
You're not coaching kids. These are grown men making hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
And like, you've got to tell fucking Gordon Hayward, like your best bro, to like
Sit
come
your
off
butt
the
down.
bench.
Right.
You have to like get in fucking Jaylen Brown's face, who thinks he's hot shit, and tell him to stop shooting stupid. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like you
yeah,
have
yeah.
to do that stuff. And so far, again, small sample size, 20 games, but it's like, Brad, can you do this, dude? Like, can you do this?
Compelling argument.
I'm just saying, like, in the NBA, I feel like it's like 70-30. 30% is like, you got to be a good basketball coach. And, you know, you obviously have to have the credentials and the smarts to get
Sure.
respected
You
in
have
the
to
first place.
understand
But to
what's happening.
actually like be a championship coach in the NBA, you have to do a lot more than just draw up plays.
Right.
You know, like you're not like the offensive coordinator, you know what I
Right,
mean? Like you're
right.
the head coach. You got to make this happen.
It's interesting because now it makes me think back on last season and like, was the reason they were so successful is because that team that he ended up with at the end of the year was basically a college team.
Those have been the teams that he's had. And again, like you said a minute
Yeah.
ago, he's not in the roster building department. That's Danny
Sure,
Ainge and
right.
others. But like, yeah, he's had great success with teams of like bit pieces and young
Yeah.
guys,
He's had
which is great. That's all he's had to deal
right.
with. So,
he hasn't won the championship, but he's like come further than he should with the team that he has. Like that was his reputation at Butler too. Like getting them to the
Absolutely.
Final Four 2 years in a row was like, what the hell, Butler? Like they're not a big national program that you hear about all the time.
In fact, never heard about them before,
Yeah,
and haven't heard about them since.
And he basically did the same thing last year
Yeah.
with
Oh,
that
yeah.
team that he was left with when Kyrie went out.
Totally. And the year before that with IT and Horford, you
Yeah,
know, I
yeah.
mean, like,
Yeah.
I just think it's interesting to think about the Brad Stevens NBA coaching era as 4 years of like runway, and like now this is the team.
And
This
is
is
he
what all the
stumbling a
trades
little?
were for all
Yeah.
the draft picks, all the like, just, you know, since when was the last year of the big three? Like 2012, whenever they like
I don't
broke
know.
that up.
Yeah, sure. Do you think that he can figure it out? Like, do you have confidence in his ability to figure out how to like shift gears a little bit?
I have no idea. I don't know. Like if you read, I put a couple.
I
of
was just
quotes.
about to say, because when I read the quotes, right? So there's a couple quotes that we have from Celtics players in the locker room, and like I got to tell you, it makes me feel like that is exactly what you're talking about. Like a coach that knows how to manage the ego and manage the players, and not just the X's and O's, can overcome. Like these conversations wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, here's
to
just,
the media.
Here's just a couple highlights coming out of the locker room. This was after Monday, I think. I got this from a Sports Illustrated article and I dropped them into our like notes. So forgive me, audience. I don't know the exact time of these quotes. They obviously won against the Pelicans on Monday night, but they're still way below where expectations are. So
Yeah.
Kyrie Irving had this to say: "You're almost at that rock bottom point where the team is about to blow up. Not saying we're here. Oh, I'm sorry. Not saying we're there, but for me, there's no more time to waste," says Kyrie Irving. Here's another good one. Marcus Smart says, "I don't even know what to say to you guys at this point," referring to the media. "Literally, this is the first time in my life I've ever had literally no answer for any questions. I honestly don't know what it is. I'm stumped right now." That's Marcus Smart, the heart and soul of the team. That's
Right.
like your like fucking
Dirt dog.
that's your guy.
Bring him on.
And he says he literally doesn't know what the hell's going on. And so like I feel like, I don't know, if you think about like people in positions of leadership rather,
right.
who are like got there because they're really good at this like one thing.
Yeah.
And it's like in Brad's case, I think it's the nitty gritty X's and O's of basketball is what got him here. I don't know if he's like a leader of men, because what
Right.
the team needs right now, it seems pretty clear, is a leader of men. What they have is this tactician who's a skilled tactician for sure. But I just don't know if what this team needs is what Brad Stevens has. And I'm beginning to question whether he's a good coach or not. I don't know.
It almost
I always thought he was.
it almost feels like these quotes could have come directly from Brad.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what's going on.
he had that quote
He
the other
did,
day that
yeah.
was like, I'll find it and play it. So here it is.
I just don't know that we're that good, Gary. Like, maybe it's not a wake-up call if you keep getting beat. You know, like, we have to play better. And it's not because we're not capable of being good. It's not because we weren't good at one time in our lives. It's, you're good if you play good. And, I mean, the results are speaking for themselves.
I just don't know if we're any good.
Yeah, right.
He's like looking at the fucking
Right.
data in front of him
Right.
with his eyes, and he's saying, "We suck." Like, I don't know.
I don't know what's happening. And
I
it's
don't
like,
know.
dude, if you don't know what's happening, like, Who does? Like, pull the fire alarm.
That's the scariest part, is that like it's not just that they're like losing games. Like, oh, you can lose games for a million reasons. Like
Sure.
that happens.
And there's going to be days you lose.
But-
nobody goes undefeated.
Right. But just to be like totally like no one seems to know what the answer is. To me, it seems like there's too many like too many Chiefs, not enough Indians.
Yeah.
But like, I don't know.
Do you think they need a trade? Like, do they need to trade someone out of there? They need to get rid of Rozier or Jaylen Brown or somebody?
I think they should have traded Terry Rozier in the offseason. So
Yeah.
I'm still on the
'Cause his
trade
stock
Terry
is, like,
train.
Falling right
Well,
now.
the team stock is fine. I mean, now if Danny Ainge calls up some other GM in
Yeah.
the NBA, he's like, hey, what would you give me for Terry Rozier? Like, things are going good up there, huh? Like,
Yeah.
fuck you. Like, nobody likes Danny Ainge anyways.
I know.
Like, who's going to help him out of this jam?
Right.
And so, like, I feel like the time to trade Terry Rozier has come and gone. But if I were to trade anybody, it'd be him, because I don't think he's not going to resign here anyways. I wouldn't.
Right.
I think this is the last year of his deal.
Yes, you're correct.
But still, I would say to the people, I'd be like, guys, like, what the fuck? Like,
Right.
what are we doing here? Get out there and win some games. What are we like? What's happening?
Yeah.
Somebody needs to diagnose this team. Like the fact that they're 20 games in, they're just above 500, and they don't have like a diagnosis as to why it is that way is wild to me.
I feel like Brad has them out there like running drills when what they need is like a good therapy session.
Yeah,
Like, what do we want to be known for as a team? Like, what's important to you guys? Like, how do we work together to accomplish that? Like, you don't need to run wind sprints. You need to like figure out, like, are you all on the same page that like Kyrie is the number one ball handler and like all things will flow through him. Like, here's your role. Here's your role. Here's your role. All are equally important to being successful.
Yeah, and speaking of Kyrie had a quote this week that frustrated me. That was like, we need. I'll find that one too. Here it is.
Just some experience, you know. Looking at this locker room, just, you know, me being in my 8th year and being a quote-unquote veteran, as well as Al and Baines, and you know, right now I think that it would be nice if we had someone that was a 15-year vet, 14-year vet that could, you know, just kind of help us race along the regular season, understand that it's a long marathon rather than just a full-on sprint of just, you know, when you want to play, when you want to do what you want to do. So.
A 15-year veteran. Like, first of all, you're the fucking guy, Kyrie.
Right.
I know you're
You
not a
wanted
15-year
your own
veteran.
team.
You're like a 6-year veteran, but like you're the guy.
Right.
Like, you're the guy. You left the team that you weren't the guy to come be on a
Right.
team where you are.
That
the
was
guy.
your whole thing.
You're the guy
of leaving that
So,
team.
You can't sit there and say the team needs a veteran, and you have veterans. Like Al Horford is a veteran.
Right.
Marcus Morris is a veteran. Like you've got that covered. Like there is no hole on the roster.
Right.
Like you just can't find one. There's not even a hole in the coaching staff. Apparently, Brad Stevens is a really good coach. Like, I don't know. That whole 15-year veteran comment was real. I was like, that's concerning. Like, is Kyrie Irving a leader of men? Like, I don't. Is he?
Yeah. Is he realizing it's
Can
not
he
so
do
easy?
that? Can he get? Does he? Can he? Will he get in someone's face and like fuck shit up if a team is just like playing like a bunch of dummies?
Apparently he's not.
I don't know.
He
I'll
just wants
tell you
to
what. If you had asked
Make
me,
his movies, sign his sneaker deals.
well, maybe. Or maybe he just has only ever been on teams that are fucking sick. Guy went to Duke, he gets drafted by the Cavs, who already have LeBron, and like,
yeah, true.
you know, the Celtics were good last year. They should be good this year too, but it's like, I don't know. Has Kyrie Irving ever like really like
Face adversity.
on the court faced any like serious adversity? This is what I'm asking myself about Brad Stevens now. Like, so much has come to light about like what they've done so far in their careers and all these assumptions we've made about their
Yeah.
skills.
And now you wonder.
And now they're being tested, and you're like, oh shit. Like, I was only ever looking at Kyrie on the court and being like, the Celtics have the guy. Like, we did it. We got a superstar.
Yeah.
Sick. Let's go win some fucking titles. But now it's like, oh shit. It ain't that easy.
Apparently there's more to it
Who'd
than
have
that.
thunk it?
I have one more Celtics question for you, though.
Sure.
So we're talking about the Celtics. We're talking about, like, yeah, we're only at the quarter mark of the season. I think we expect them to figure it out. We keep expecting them to figure it out, though, right? Like,
Yeah.
every game that they win, we're like, oh, yeah, there we go. Okay,
Yeah,
now
yeah,
we're
yeah.
cooking. This is what we wanted.
Yeah,
It's
two steps forward, one
fucking-
step
yeah,
back.
then it doesn't work out. But when you think about, like, we've talked about this a lot last season, too, and, like, the advantage of home court and how that has a huge impact in the NBA. Do you think that if they can make it to like a 3 seed and can like get home court in a series or two, that they have a chance to go all the way still in the playoffs?
So if they're in a lower seed,
Yeah, they don't need to be the number 1 seed to get like,
well, they ain't going to be the number 1 seed at this point.
right. But like, they hit 3-4. They can get maybe a series at home, depending on how things shake out.
Yeah, I mean, it would certainly be a harder road. Like, it's funny, the NBA, this is something we talked about in the playoffs a lot last year, about how like the NBA playoffs aren't always that interesting because the home team always wins.
Yeah.
And the question you would ask is, do they win because they're at home, or are they at home because they're better?
Right.
Right? So like, does the better team always win in the NBA? And I think generally the answer is yes. The better team like the team with the better talent tends to win most of the time, and the team with the better talent, that typically bears itself out over the regular season, and therefore
Right.
they're the higher seed, therefore they're at home. So I don't put that much stock in like the home road thing as some people do. I just look at who's better,
Sure.
So I mean, I don't think it would like if the Celtics don't win the East, let's say, it won't be because they're on the road. I don't think.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe in Toronto, like if the Toronto series, it comes down to like a game 7, you're in Toronto, you know what I mean? Something really
Sure.
specific like that, where it's like, you look at it and you're like, damn, if that was just a home game, it would have been different. Because if that, like, let's say they get to an East final
Right.
and it plays out the way that like that Milwaukee series played out, where just every team wins their home game and then it
Yeah.
comes down to game 7, the home team wins and everybody goes home.
Right.
Like, if that were to happen, I'd be like, fuck, those first 25
Yeah.
games of the season really
They
fucked you.
mattered.
But I mean, I think if they do figure it out, then that would imply that the team is somewhere close to what it's capable of. And if they're playing close to what they're capable of, I think they can beat fucking anybody in the East, including
Yeah.
Toronto.
So they have the chance. They kind of have the chance to buck that trend of like winning at home if they can get good in the second half of the season and be playing to their actual potential.
Yeah, I think that would actually be kind of sick.
Because they might not be able to move their seed up enough, but they might actually be like,
Yeah, there's a lot
winning.
of like NBA punditry happening right now,
Yeah.
and like a lot of math about like how they could possibly like where they might seed, which is
Yeah.
foolish to do
Right.
at this point of the season. But
right,
it's like,
anything could happen.
unless something ridiculous happens to Toronto or them in the
Well, they get an injury
negative
or
or
something.
positive direction,
Yeah.
respectively, like they ain't getting that 1 seed. Like, no way.
You never know.
You never do know.
75% of the season left to go.
True story. But yeah, wild start so far. Hey, if you had asked me in August,
Yeah.
like, hey, Craig, picture this. It's November 28th, and you're fired up about regular season Celtics games, yelling about Brad Stevens.
I know. Never.
Do you think that'll happen?
Never.
I'd be like, no, it's going to be like, you don't have to wake me up in fucking May.
Right. I'll watch the last 2 minutes of every game. 'Cause that's all that matters. And then I'll watch the postseason.
Yeah, weird times. Weird times in Celtics land.
Yeah. I feel like we unpacked that a lot.
What else you want to talk about? Think the Pats are all right? That Tennessee game was fucking terrible.
Yeah, I didn't get to see it.
Oh, you didn't miss a goddamn thing.
That's what I kinda
That was
heard.
gross.
I was in Disney,
Oh.
NBD, and myself, my brother-in-law, and father-in-law were all like checking the score, and we're like, "Fuck, what the fuck?"
Oh,
we were
yeah.
like walking around Animal Kingdom.
You picked a good game to miss,
Yeah.
let me tell you.
It was-
That was like puking on your shoes and then like walking a mile in it. It was gnarly.
Yeah, thank God they came back and played like they should against the Jets, which like notoriously they actually have struggled a little bit against the Jets on
yeah.
the road.
I mean, we were just
So-
talking before we hit record about this, how like,
Yeah. I think I heard this theory this week, like, as we're watching some teams that had beat the Patriots really kind of struggle in like their next game and future games. I heard this theory that it's like the Patriots are good in the playoffs because every team that they play all 16 weeks is taking their best shot. They're basically at playoff level play, for lack of a better word, every single week.
Yeah.
And so when they get to the playoffs, it's no different to them. You know, when you're looking at these teams and you're looking at teams like who they've lost to, fucking Jacksonville, who's just a train wreck right now.
yeah,
Tennessee, they just lost to. Like,
middling,
yeah, but like,
the Lions.
yeah,
Sucky.
none of them are blow your socks off, like Super Bowl contending
No,
teams.
in fact, the only team that is the Chiefs, and they beat them.
Yeah, they won
You know?
against them. It's like we took our best shot at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it's interesting just to think about like, you know, you're dealing with a higher level of competition maybe. And so for them to come back and like play well against the Jets and have a good win and get the offense really moving and rolling, and they stopped the Jets like pretty well up and down the field.
Oh, yeah.
It just felt like, okay, we're back after the bye. We fell into a trap game before the bye against
Big time.
Tennessee. Now we're back. We're ready to close out the season.
Yeah, and as much as they could prove in that game last
Yeah,
week,
sure.
they proved
Right.
that they're
It's the Jets.
back on track. You know, like they weren't able to totally erase that Tennessee loss because you're playing the fucking Jets. If they were playing
Right.
like the Rams in LA or something and won, like that's a whole different thing. But crappy opponent who's giving you the best shot, and like that's what the Patriots see most weeks.
But I think I think if I have this right, in the last 4 years, they haven't beat the Jets in the Meadowlands by more than 7 points.
I'll
So-
just go ahead and accept that as truth.
Everybody should. Don't Google my facts. It's something like that. They dropped one. I think they won one by a touchdown, one by 6, and one by like 4 or
Interesting.
something. And so you look at that and it's like, oh shit. Like because again, like the Jets play hard when the Patriots are coming to town. They're on their home turf. They don't want to get embarrassed.
Tough atmosphere too. Fans are up. Like the Pats have
Yeah.
not played like a dead stadium for
No.
20 years.
No, well, yeah.
Like-
So not only are you getting the best out of that team, you're getting the best out of their fans
Loud
too.
crowd,
They're
yeah, for
they're
sure.
loud. They're into it. They're excited. The refs get a little amped up too. Like I think you're in
Ooh.
kind of a big game. We saw fucking Ed Hockley's kid.
Ed Hockley's kid. I didn't realize that until after the game, unfortunately.
Oh my god.
Like I wish I could have been like hip
He
to
was
that.
throwing flags like he was the starting pitcher. I was like, dude, like enough. That first half took forever. I think the Patriots got flagged 11 times in that game.
It was pretty.
It was brutal.
It was pretty.
It was brutal. And some of them were weak calls. Like there were a couple where I was like, really?
Mm.
You got to let some of that go. But towards the end of the game, they felt like they let them play a little bit more. There was like one Gilmore hold in particular where I was like, that's funny because a quarter ago you would have called that.
You would have
Now
thrown
it's just
a pocket full of flags at
Whatever.
that a couple
Yeah.
minutes ago.
would have been like lawn darts out there, but now it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I definitely feel good about what I saw on Sunday. My only my biggest concern right now with the Patriots is I think their offense will be totally fine,
Yeah.
but no one can get hurt. Just no one can. Like they have the big tight end, a
Yeah.
little slot receiver, a deep threat in Josh Gordon. They've got a stay-at-home running back in Sony Michel, and like third down, Kevin Falk type back in James White. Like they have one of all of those things. If any one of those things goes away due to injury, they don't have anything to replace it. They just gotta, instead of having 5 weapons, they now have 4. Like there's no
There's no second.
there's no replacement for Josh Gordon. There's no
Right.
replacement for Julian, and there's no replacement for fucking Sony Michel. They had Cordell Patterson running the ball, for Christ's sakes. Like
He didn't look bad. Got a
assuming-
touchdown.
Yeah, well,
Grab
yeah.
the guy by the nuts.
Oh man, did he ever? He fucking squeezed that dude's. Oh man,
he was
that
like a
rough.
squirrel getting ready for winter out
Oh
there.
god, fistful of nuts. Like this fucking guy.
Oh my god.
Yeah. So that's my only thing with the Patriots. I just like, I don't know. Like I just, every week I'm just like, oh God, please, like just get up, get up, get up. Every time someone gets hurt, I'm like, get up.
I mean, we
please,
were
get
talking
up,
about
get
it
up,
on
get up.
Sunday, like watching that game, and Julian Edelman is just like throwing his body like he's a rag doll. And I was like, dude, you're in your 30s and you're coming off a bad knee injury. Can you just like go down?
Yeah.
Like 20 yards is cool. You don't need 21.
Yeah.
Just hit the deck.
Give
go
it the
down.
old Wes Welker. Just fucking hit the
Oh
ground.
my God, please. It's like, I like hold my breath every single time. He's like jumping in the air and flipping over people like he's in the rhythm gymnastics.
Yeah, he does
competition.
like the airborne theatrics.
Yeah, I don't
quite a
need
bit.
any of that.
Yeah, it's a little bit nerve wracking, but I think they're getting it back on track, and maybe we'll be in a false sense of security, or maybe they'll actually figure it out because they definitely play a lot of swag over the last 5 weeks of the season.
Yeah.
But they do have the Steelers
Yeah, and the
in
Vikings.
Pittsburgh, so we'll see. And the Vikings game shouldn't be a walkover, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I'll be there on Sunday. So
Oh, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
big
baby.
time. I didn't know.
Yeah,
2
baby.
games this season?
2 games this season.
Look at you go.
Big NFC North guy apparently. Backwards Vikings.
Oh, wow. I'll be at work, NBD.
Yeah, well, vacation's over, bro. All right, lightning round.
Yep.
You want to start?
Okay. As we said in the open, Oakland A's manager Bob Melvin
Bobby.
won AL Manager of the Year. The expectations for the A's were extremely low, and they managed to win 97 games and make the play-in game, which they ultimately then lost to the Yankees. Conversely, Alex Cora, local manager, steered the very high expectation Red Sox to 108 wins, most in franchise history and in MLB this season. Thank you very much. And they went on to, of course, win the World Series. Do you think Cora got snubbed for the Manager of the Year?
I don't really care about Manager of the Year. First of all,
Oh, okay.
the thing is that if you look at like who wins it, usually it is the Bob Melvins of the world. Generally, it's usually like the like zero to hero, like lowest expectation team, like that like came out of nowhere and is like really good, right?
Sure. Everyone likes the underdog.
The Las Vegas Golden Knights in the NHL. The coach of that team
Oh,
won
they
the fucking
should've, yeah.
you know, coach of the year, whatever. Like so that's what those things happen to be. I do think that there should be like managing in the regular season in baseball is very different than managing in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And like managing the regular season is really just about managing workload and rest. And managing in the postseason is like actual tactical.
Right.
Every pitch matters. Every pitching change matters. Every defensive replacement matters. Like, so, and these awards don't take into account postseason anything. So the prize in the postseason is win the fucking World Series. So I'm not really that bitter. I don't really think he got snubbed. It kind of just is what the award is.
Yeah, it's a good point because I think we think about Alex Cora's managing skills from the playoffs, and like
yeah, because like that he was
he was
brilliant.
He could have won World Series MVP. For
Honest
Christ's
to God,
sakes.
if that was within the rules,
Yeah.
that he was my MVP.
But yeah, over the season, the Red Sox winning. I mean, 100 was like unprecedented, obviously, but
Totally.
like it wasn't.
But the
like,
other thing is
okay.
like the high expectations of the team. I feel like that is like they use that against Alex Cora. Like, but I feel like it should be something that you should put in his column for why he should have won Manager of the Year. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
high expectations are hard to deal with. Low expectations is easy.
Right.
You
Because
know?
if you suck, who cares? There's no pressure.
Exactly.
You have all the pressure.
Like
You
the
have
pressure
high
cooker
expectations.
of Boston, New York, LA, Houston,
Yeah.
like these teams that are supposed to be good and perform well. I feel like that's something that should help you win a Manager of the Year is the fact that there was high expectations, not low.
Yeah.
But that's just me. All right. A little bit of an old story. But a few weeks ago, the two best teams in their respective conferences in the National Football League went head-to-head on Monday Night Football. The Rams from Los Angeles and the Kansas City Chiefs wound up in I think the final score was 51-55. I meant to look that up, but
Something
I
stupid.
did
Yeah.
not.
I think that's right.
It was definitely in the 50s. Both teams were in the 50s, and the Chiefs lost. And that was obviously a wide open game with lots of exciting plays coming from both offense and defense.
Yes.
It was highly entertaining, but slightly concerning as a Patriots fan, as we had just watched our offense put up 10 fucking points against the Titans. The Chiefs are right now the best team in the AFC, and the Pats are in there at number 2 as it stands right now. And this is obviously a likely projection for the AFC Championship game this year, although you never know. So, Melissa, my question to you is, after watching this game, which I assume that you did, do you think the Patriots can come up with? Do you think the Patriots can keep up with either of these teams? Can they score 50 in a fucking game?
I don't think they would need to.
Whoa,
Because these offenses didn't score 51 and 55 points.
that's a good point.
Their defenses played a huge part in that scoring. I don't know the breakdown on top of my head, but I would bet it was almost 50% of those points came from the defense.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
there was a lot of
it was
short
a lot.
fields. There was
Yeah.
a lot. There was like I think there was one defensive score on either team, but there was a lot of just other turnovers
a lot
that
of
put them in
stopping
position
that.
to score.
Right,
Yeah.
right. And so I think like at the end of the day, you have Tom Brady as your quarterback, and he's great at ball protection and ball management, and like you don't give those defenses a chance to score in that way, and so it keeps your score down. So I don't worry about that score getting run up, and they've already proved that they can hang with the Chiefs. We talked about it before; they beat them. The Rams, I worry about a little bit more because I feel like Andy Reid will like piss his pants playing the Patriots in the postseason, as he
agree.
does every time. Patrick Mahomes is a
As
little
he
bit
did in this game on Monday night.
Patrick Mahomes is a little bit of a wild card, obviously, because
Totally.
like he's never even been to the playoffs before, so who the hell knows?
Mm-hmm.
But you know, college football players typically don't. Well, no, they never play that long of a season. So like, does he have the
story.
stamina to like
True story.
do that for an additional 3 games?
Is this going to be a Deshaun Watson situation from last year?
Yeah,
It's a
it
good
just
point.
kinda
Good
peaks,
take. I like it.
Peaks in week 14, baby. It's all downhill after that.
Good take.
The Rams are a little more concerning, obviously, because they are an older team. They're a little more tenured, and I think they have.
Slightly.
Well, it's not their first year,
True.
but they have. I just think they have better like 3 phases of the game, if you will.
I hear you.
Anyway, next. Oh, you want to do some speculation?
I'd love to.
Ah, God, I knew you would. What do you think happened to Tuca? Why was he on a 5-day leave? Where the hell did he go?
Okay.
What did he do?
So I want to preface this with this is wild speculation.
I know, I like it.
Nobody knows fucking anything about this, which
I
is
know,
one of the
it's
most
so
interesting
weird.
parts. So to be clear, for those that don't know, they did not call this anything injury related or health related. They didn't call it.
In fact, they specifically said it was not.
Yeah. They didn't call it like a family leave in the NHL, like CBA. I learned all about this. They have a bereavement. So if it was like a family member or something like that died, like
Yeah.
they would have called it one of those things. It's also incredibly common across all of sports is if like some guy just needs some time to like take care of some shit,
Right.
whatever that shit might be. Maybe he's got to meet with his lawyer or something. I don't know. There could be anything. These are people with lives. Like they'll say, "Oh yeah, does your back hurt?"
Right.
You know, like flu-like symptoms. Like
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like you can see
Stomach bug.
You've seen these injuries, particularly in basketball, hockey, baseball, longer. You know, just not football, basically, where the regular seasons are really long. So they didn't do any of that. They just said the Bruins went pretty, I would say, out of their way to say this is a Tuukka thing.
Yeah.
It's just talk to him. What it was, I got the sense from some of the reporting that week that it was nothing tragic.
Right.
Like I you got the sense from like listening to Tuukka talk about it after once he came back that he was a little pissed. Like he didn't, his tone wasn't that of someone that just like had like just went through like a tragic loss in their life.
Right.
And again, if he did, it would have been bereavement or something
Right.
like
They
that.
would have just called it that.
So that's good for him. But I don't know, like, I don't know what his like marriage situation is. It almost seemed like it was like a marital or
Some kind of paternity issue, you think maybe?
I was thinking more like faithfulness may have been a problem.
On his part?
Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
He was like, you know, again, wild speculation here. I don't even know if he's married. I mean, I'm sure he's got
I don't
something going
think
on.
he is.
there.
I think he has a long-term girlfriend with a child.
Oh, okay. So yeah, you got the sense that it was something like that because his tone when he came back, he was like, yeah, like had to like go handle it. Now it's handled. Like we're good. Like it was just like, were you in the fucking doghouse hard, dude? Like, dang, like, geez, 5 days away, personal leave, team doesn't even have your back. Like, what are you getting into with your fucking acid wash jeans?
Your mullet. Interesting. I thought maybe it was like a legal thing
But like, he's not in any trouble.
that we know of. We don't know what the laws are in Finland. It's a
That's a
wild
good point.
place.
That's a good point.
Maybe he like killed a polar bear or something.
Yeah,
God.
I don't know.
I don't know what he
if
does in
there
his
are polar
free
bears in
time.
Finland.
I think there are. Way up north.
There's a good chance. I just
You
don't know.
You've never been there.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tuukka could tell us. We
I
should
don't
ask
know.
him.
Yeah, legal. Yeah, I mean, maybe. But like, we know, like, that's like a public record. Like, you could look that up. I mean, again, Finland, who fucking knows?
Yeah, who knows what their laws are? The EU's got all sorts of crazy things going on.
Is he Swedish? No, he's Finnish.
He's Finnish.
Okay. Anyways, yeah, whatever. All right, here's
He's
another.
Scandinavian.
Here's another. Here's another. All their laws are based on old Viking traditions, anyways.
Yeah, maybe he had to bury someone at sea.
Yeah, you had to shoot the arrow.
He just set a boat on fire, hit him with a hammer, and called it a day.
Okay, here's another oldie hockey question that I think you're gonna like.
Oh yeah, I will.
Brad Marchand.
Yeah.
He got called for an extremely lame slashing penalty in a game against Dallas a few weeks ago. He was a little jammed up, goes to the penalty box. He was getting chirped by fans. It's not clear what the fans were saying to him, but there's a camera on the player in the penalty box, obviously, and he chirps back at the fan and says, "How much did you pay to watch me?" And I think he repeated the question and said, "How much did you pay to watch me?"
I bet he put some expletives in there.
And
Maybe not. He
I
knows
think it
there's a
is clean.
camera.
Yeah, it's
There's
clean.
a camera. And he probably wanted it to be on TV.
And to be clear, the tone of it, he was like smirking at the guy.
course.
So it wasn't like, what the fuck? And just as a fun statistic, because I felt like putting it in, just for reference, Brad Marchand leads the league in penalty minutes with 46. Second place is 26. So thoughts on Marchand chirping with the fan?
Oh, I like it. I think Marchand's funny. Okay. Let me take both sides of this coin. It's funny, like you're already in the penalty box, you might as well like throw shade at the fan. And I think that's a clever comeback of like how much are you paying to watch me, bro?
I like that.
Come on.
I do, because we don't know what the fan said. It could have been like pretty like out of line.
Right.
You know?
Right. Or it could have been mundane and funny and he was just making a joke back.
Yeah, yeah.
Fine. The problem with Brad Marchand is he needs to not do that on the ice because he brings attention to himself and hence has 46 penalty minutes, which is 20 more than the next closest guy. Like,
Yeah, he's doubled up.
yeah, because
it's
he's he's the face licker. Like, you can't do that shit. They need them on the ice, especially with Patrice Bergeron out right now. And like for a while, it seems like Patrice is going to be out. Like Marchand needs to be out there because like he's going to be a big driver of their offense, and like he needs to stay on the ice to make that happen. But once you're in the penalty box,
once you're in
talk all
there.
the shit you want and like keep the camera on him the whole time. I don't care what's happening on the ice. I want to watch him.
Yeah, I agree. I had not that anybody was like, I don't think there was too many people thinking like too up in arms about it, but like
it's funny.
He does need to clean up his act, and that's another piece of evidence to show that he's not interested in cleaning up his
No.
act at all. So it's like, okay.
No, he sure isn't.
But in a vacuum, I did like it. I thought it was
He
clever.
likes it. Over Thanksgiving, don't know if you had a chance to catch this. Golf powerhouses Tiger Woods and Phil Mickelson faced off in a head-to-head golf showdown. It was dubbed The Match. They played in Vegas, nice, for a $9 million pot and wound up tied through 18. They played an illuminated par 3 19th hole 3 times.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird. They could have moved on to a different hole. Anyway, to determine the winner.
Well, it was dark.
Yeah, they don't.
So they only had lights on one hole. They just played it over and over again.
They only had lights on one hole?
Well, only had like enough lights for like,
Oh,
they were
Jesus
going to
Christ.
fucking move the lights. Like, it'll take forever.
Your pay-per-view. Get some more lights. Anyway. There was a shitload of side bets and things like that, and the event had no PGA affiliation whatsoever. It also was a pay-per-view that got fucked up, and then they ended up having to give it to everyone for free.
What do you mean?
It was you were supposed to pay $20
$20,
for it.
yeah. Or stream it online.
And then the stream it online only happened because something happened in the pay-per-view system, and people that had paid for it it wasn't coming through their TV. So they ended up streaming it online as
the BR Live thing wasn't meant to be free?
No.
Oh.
Maybe the BR Live was, but like Turner Broadcasting ended up having
multiple streams, sure.
Did you watch it? First of all, what were your thoughts? Second of all, and do you think this is kind of going to be like a thing going forward? Just how golf's gonna go, head to head, boxing style.
Well, okay, so in order, I watched the end of it. I didn't watch the whole thing.
The illuminated three holes.
I did see that whole exchange. I thought that was cool because here's the thing: you never see professional golfers play the same hole twice. They never get to play the same hole twice.
Sure.
So
I guess.
like, just to see them like.
Adjust.
And it's also a par 3, which is cool. So it's like they're like the possibility of a hole in one is like always there. So like they're like smacking it around, and then it's like just kept on coming back, and you're like, oh shit, this is gonna be great. Like these guys never get to go back. Nobody in golf gets to go back.
Imagine if it ended with a hole in one.
That's what basically was keeping me watching, which is stupid because that's like a ridiculous thing to be rooting for. But like I didn't care about.
Yeah, but that would have been sick.
It would have been
Whoever was
unreal.
putting that on would
You
have
know,
been
it
like,
was in both of their minds too. Like that would be insane. Anyways, I thought it was fine. I think it's kind of cool. Like it's a weird thing to hype like golf. It's just such a polite sport. There's such like polite people and they're gentlemanly all the time. So like even like they were mic'd up, which I thought was really cool. And like they could do a bunch of stuff that the PGA, I would imagine, wouldn't let them otherwise do. Like they were literally doing like immediately after a hole, Mr. Broadcaster Man would stand in between Phil and Tiger and just talk to them. Like, how's that?
That's cool.
Is that cool for you? Like, what do you think?
Which I
thought was really cool. It was like a nice little like peek behind the curtain, but just in this particular case, peeking behind the curtain of professional golf, it's not that interesting behind the curtain. Like there's your problem.
Yeah.
I think if they did this sort of like, I think people should do this all the time. I don't know if it's in their contracts or whatever. Like this is obviously a non-contact sport, so like whatever.
Sure.
But like if like Kyrie Irving and Steph Curry put on like a fucking handles competition in the off season, totally unaffiliated with the NBA. They were just like doing it for cash.
Right.
That'd be fucking sick.
Well, you know what I was going to say is that I feel like the best part of All-Star weekends is like the skills competition.
Absolutely.
That's like almost what this is.
Yeah.
They should make skills competitions in All-Star weekends more like that.
I think I mean, like almost like the worst part. And again, like I play golf. Like I'm a casual golf fan. Like I'll watch the fucking Masters. I'm a lukewarm golf fan. But like
golf light.
I'd rather see Phil and Tiger try to hole it on a par 3 3 times over than watch them play 18 holes against each other. That's just me. Like if you're going to do the whole like non-tournament, like just one-on-one thing, like mix it up.
I got it. I got the next thing.
What?
I want all the royalties for it.
What?
Tiger, Phil, mini golf.
See, that would be hilarious.
Yeah, it'd be great.
As long as
Get
they're
the
taking
windmill.
it serious. You'd have to like make it high stakes for them somehow though. And you can't do it with money.
$12 million style.
All right, it's my
Anyway.
turn to ask you a question, isn't it?
It is.
And my phone's in my pocket. What an amateur. Oh, yeah. Jacksonville Jaguars. Their team. Remember them?
Yeah.
They're officially losing their shit.
Yeah.
Blake Bortles getting benched in favor of backup Cody Kessler.
His current NFL record is 0-8.
Oh, my God.
If you're keeping score at home.
That's brutal.
Yeah.
Running back Leonard Fournette was tossed out of the game on Sunday for throwing actual punches with some poor Buffalo Bill.
Did you see it?
I did. Of course.
God,
How
it's
could you have
fucking
fucking missed
great.
it at this point in the week? I liked how when the refs or whoever was separating them decided to take them down the tunnel, they take them down the tunnel. They took them down the same tunnel.
I know why.
I thought that
was
brilliant decision making
Yeah.
when you're trying to break up a fight. Let's take them to a enclosed space away
together.
from all the cameras and the rules,
Yeah.
and just have them fucking keep barking at each other.
My favorite part of them breaking up the fight was the ref that just kept blowing his whistle. Like, yeah, dude,
Like,
they
just-
heard you. They
Yeah,
don't
it's
care.
not a matter of
We
not
know.
whistling enough at
Yeah.
this point.
They got it. They don't give a shit, dude.
Okay, so my question for you is, how did the fucking Patriots lose to this crapbag team, and how does the team go from being in the playoffs 1 year to a complete fucking shit show the next year?
I don't know. I was really hoping you were going to get this question.
I have an answer for the second part.
I mean, they beat the Patriots because that was early in the season. Teams are still figuring themselves out,
Oh, yeah.
early in the season. Like,
No fluke about that. They
Yeah.
just beat them straight up.
right. They
Beat
were
'em.
the better team that day.
Yeah.
And like, since then, they have just fallen off a cliff. I think they've lost 8 in a row. And, it was like one of those things where they came out, they were a good team at the end of last year. So it wasn't that surprising when they beat the Patriots. It wasn't like we lost to the
Yeah, the Patriots barely
Browns,
beat them in the
like-
AFC Championship game.
yeah, like it was a tight game. So it wasn't that surprising. It's more surprising where they're ending up now. And I think it's like, one of the reasons that we know they lost that AFC Championship game is because Doug Marrone's a fucking moron.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And so, like, I think
And
it goes
Tom Brady's the fucking greatest.
right. But I think it goes back to our point about like, hey, when shit starts going bad, who do you look at? It's hard not to turn all eyes on the Jaguars sidelines and be like,
Hey, buddy.
what's going on over there, Doug?
Nice
Yeah.
reflective shades.
Yeah, not looking so great.
The answer to the second question of how does a team go from being in the playoffs 1 year to complete disaster the next year is like, that's the NFL.
Yeah,
We
There's
don't
a lot more parity.
We're so disconnected from it as Patriots fans because
Yeah.
we root for the Patriots and they're just good year in, year out. But that's so abnormal.
Yeah, but I feel like the teams
Like
that we
the
play
Eagles
are
this
bad
year?
year after year.
The Eagles suck this year.
Yeah, they sure
And,
do.
like,
Yeah, but
look at-
they were a fluke last year too.
They were pretty damn good all year.
Yeah, but they weren't like they didn't go into that season as like a cream of the crop team. They played good, they played hard all year, and they ended up winning enough games to get to the Super Bowl, and then they kicked our fucking asses. I'm not over it yet.
But I'm just saying that like the up and downs of the NFL, that's
Yeah.
normal as fuck. Look
just
at the-
not here.
Yeah. Just not here. Anyways, last question.
Big news,
It's a
Craig.
Clarky special.
Big news.
Burnsy special.
This is for Steven at the Twin.
Sports betting.
It's official. It's real. You can do it in Rhode Island.
It's
That
live.
sucks.
I'm sorry. Can I clarify this? On here, it says that it's live in Rhode Island.
Correct.
It's live,
As in you
not
can
just legal. It's live. They actually
Yeah, you
have
can go
the
do it. It's at the Twin.
casinos.
There's a sports book at the Twin.
The Twins in Rhode Island?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Jesus Christ. Now I'm like a kidnapper. I've
very
taken
drunk
you
the
over
last time I
state
was there.
lines before.
Interesting. Okay, so the question for you, Melissa, is what's your favorite sport to bet? And would you rather bet games or like weird prop bets?
I'd rather bet weird prop bets because I think it's funny. I'd rather bet like who's going to score the first touchdown in the game, what team's going to
Do you
commit the
actually
first
like
turnover.
betting that though, or do you just like looking at prop bets? Like, do you actually like bet your money that you work for?
So in Vegas, I have bet that before. You don't bet a lot. I'm not putting like $200 on someone, but you can bet like $10 on a couple
Sure,
different prop
sure,
bets.
sure.
And it's like, it makes it more interesting when it happens because it's in-game live action. So you don't have to wait until you get to the end of the game to find out what's going to happen.
Do you know how many times when I watch NFL games, I like nudge the person next to me when someone's kicking an extra point or a field goal, and I go, watch, he's going to miss this kick. if you say it enough times, you're going to be right.
Eventually you're right.
but
Yeah, no one
usually
remembers when you're wrong.
I would imagine if I could just sit at a fucking sports book and just be like, hey, I bet he misses it.
Oh, God.
What do you think the odds are on that? Like on any given kick? Like, got to be like 10-1 or something, 20-1 maybe.
I
more.
guess it depends on what the kick is.
Yeah, but I'm just saying I do that every time, no matter what. Like extra points doesn't matter. Well, this was fun.
Yeah, it's nice to be back.
Glad to be back in the saddle. Coming up this week, Celtics are in action still. We'll see if they can figure it out. Hopefully, we're not ranting and raving about them again
God.
this time next week.
Yeah.
Bruins got some games.
Patriots are going to play the Vikings.
Pats, Vikes.
Craig will be there.
We'll see what happens. Follow us on Twitter if you want. Tattletown Pod. What else can you do?
You can call us
Oh shit! Yeah, that's right.
at 904-87-TT-POD.
Yes,
I nailed it.
crushed that.
Finally.
Stepped into it.
Yeah, call us, leave us a voicemail. We don't answer.
It's low stress.
Yeah, just leave us a voicemail about anything you want. We're back. We will listen to your voicemails.
I bet we'll get at least one Celtics call between now and next episode. Just
can-
a prediction.
Almost hear it coming now.
All right, we'll see you next week.
All right. Bye.